This headline from CBS News: the U.S. government is absolutely not diverting hurricane and disaster relief funds to subsidize the care of migrants crossing the southern border, the top Customs and Border Protection official told CBS News in an exclusive interview. This comes amid accusations with evidence of hundreds of millions of dollars being diverted in recent years from federal disaster relief programs into programs that subsidize illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, migrant workers, and in effect, providing them with welfare that is far more difficult for U.S. citizens to themselves gain access to. And so their story is outrage associated with the fact that federal criminals, aka illegal immigrants, receive federal money which ought to be and was in fact appropriated for U.S. citizens and those in their communities who are suffering the worst case scenario, which is the loss of their homes, the loss of everything, the loss of their communities, their towns, their churches, their schools, their libraries, their stores, and their spouses, parents, and children. And we've seen some tragic stories about that. Some have said that the natural disaster of Hurricane Helene by Biden-Harris administration has been turned into a man-made disaster. They are adding permanent insult to a painful, in some cases fatal, injury. Not cool, says the Joshua. Now, what we have here from CBS News, quoting absolutely not, offers us a peek behind the curtain. I have long been preaching about the bad verb rule. This is where one bad verb equals one lie. Now, bad verb, of course, is a made-up conjunction of bad and adverb, bad verb. And this is the tendency for journalists, those who work in mainstream media, public figures, influencers, statesmen and women and their representatives and their allies to all use, particularly left of center, to all use exaggerating language to spin a narrative, to twist a story, and to subconsciously or unconsciously reveal that intent to us through the use of adverbs. And so what we have here is absolutely not. You'll notice often there are claims that such and such person literally said, for example, Trump literally said all immigrants are criminals. Did he, in fact, literally say that? Well, if you go back and read the transcript, you find that he's referring to the 13,000 convicted murderers who have been released into this country in the last 1 year and 4.5 months, and the 15,000 convicted rapists that have been welcomed into the country. Caught and released, the catch and release program we hear about. So it's obvious from the context and from the transcript itself that's what he's talking about. So another thing is you'll hear is Trump literally called the neo-Nazis very fine people. That, of course, is the fine people hoax. The transcript right after that is when Trump himself said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. They should be condemned totally. And he said he's talking about both sides of the statue debate, meaning are Confederate statues a good idea to keep up in the public square in this day and age? And there certainly are. In fact, there's an African-American civic organization in Richmond that has been advocating for keeping Confederate monuments exactly where they were. I watched this on 60 Minutes soon after that 2017 Charlottesville rally/riot and then protests and counter-protests associated with the statues. It was quite a mess there. And adverbs turn a natural disaster into a man-made persuasion disaster. One way for you to protect yourself and your family is to teach this to those that you know, those that you love, those you like, those you respect, those you wish you could respect, and those that you're responsible for, by teaching them about adverbs. That when an adverb has been inserted into a story or a report or the news, That will often mean, and ironically, Stephen King, who regularly uses adverbs in his own content on social media, in his writing. And this is less about what people say, but it's more so about what they write, the insertion of adverbs where they do not belong. Stephen King, who likes to use adverbs essentially, very basically, literally, so on and so forth, when he is attacking Donald J. Trump, which is often, which is habitual in his case, perhaps obsessive. He himself wrote in his book on writing, haha, he talked about the road to hell is paved with adverbs. And he said that adverbs are what writers use when they're not confident about their point and they are attempting to project overconfidence. They're attempting to make up for that lack of confidence. And therefore, they are basically lying. Now, this is me saying that because he did not, in fact, say that it's lying. But this is what I've noticed. And the bad verb rule is right so often, we like to call it a rule as opposed to a hypothesis or a law. People will call it Lisec's law as well, but the bad verb rule works just as well. So when you read a headline that says J.D. Vance literally screwed a couch, you just say, oh, he did not, insert did not, J.D. Vance did not screw a couch. Oh, okay, makes sense. All right. When Kamala Harris says, I'm basically a gun nut. Oh, okay. I'm, insert, replacement. Okay. I'm not a gun nut. Okay. And the irony there, of course, is when she said that she owns a Glock, she claims that she owns a firearm that's not legal in California, I understand, which is, she was a senator from California before becoming vice president. Okay. So you own an illegal firearm. You've just confessed to a federal, well, I guess not federal, but a state crime. Miss Prosecutor, is that what just happened? Now, I bet if pressed on this, she would have a press release, have some sort of post about it, and there would be adverbs in that. That's quite fun. I also noticed that in conjunction with adverbs, when negatives are used, don't, can't, nope, not, won't, couldn't, shouldn't, mustn't, this sort of language, when that sort of language is injected or infused into a conversation, it often reveals to me that something is amiss. Something is up. That it's like, don't think of a purple elephant. You've heard that before, but now you're thinking of a purple elephant, right? Okay, how purple is it? What kind of, oh, purple elephant, right? Don't think of that. I played this game with AI before, by the way, where I've tricked AI into generating image or text after telling it not to do it. So do not generate an image of such and such. I absolutely do not do that. I do not want to see that. Hit enter. Here is the image I will not be generating. Some of them have gotten better, and I haven't been able to trick them as I've become more sophisticated, but I've been able to do that a couple of times. Sometimes throwing adverbs in there has been effective at preventing that from happening. It's always quite fun when you see through the curtain like that. But I bring this up because about the nope, can't, don't, won't, shouldn't, mustn't. You might have noticed that. So this episode is coming out right before the election, the presidential election in the United States. A very popular campaign sign from the Kamala's camp. Kamala. From her side is the Trump hair, a graphic of the Trump hair, and a cartoonish Trump hair over the word nope, and something like nope, not again, something like that. Wise or unwise? Well, first of all, it takes attention off of your candidate, puts it on the other person. So now they're becoming, their power is growing, their attention, their energy, their influence is growing. If you talk to any Kamala supporter why they're voting for Kamala, what do they say? Well, they will, like the Bible says, engage in much weeping and gnashing of teeth while explaining to you how bad Trump is. So it's, why do you like Kamala? She's not Trump. Okay, but what do you expect her to do that he wouldn't do or do as well? I would expect her to not be Trump, right? So their entire existence is associated with who they're not voting for. Which, of course, has provided even more attention. At least with Hillary and her people back in 2016 and Biden in 2020, they tried to leverage the, let's say, the personal brand of Biden being like Obama's bro, second in command, and that name recognition, right? And he had been kind of a figure in popular culture, having appeared multiple times on the show Parks and Recreation, which is popular with the childless wine and millennial female category that was instrumental in putting Biden into the White House, officially or unofficially. And back in 2016, it was that same crowd, but also their soy boy boyfriends and husbands who would say, I'm with her, right? The focus was on that. Now we've got not I'm with her. Now we don't have Obama's second in command and kind of coasting on that name recognition of being in politics his entire life. But we have got nope. So every time I see that, I think, oh, that's right. I need to vote for Trump. Don't forget to vote for Trump. Nope. Right? The subconscious mind, being only 5 to 7 years old, is not able to comprehend the nope, can't, don't, won't, shouldn't. And so it's a persuasion fail. It's fun, but it's a fun persuasion fail. I of course, I'm admitting that I'm biased in this regard. I have been persuaded logically, then emotionally, and then logically to voice support for Donald J. Trump. I did a video in 2019 with Scott Adams. 2019 people. That's more than 5 years ago at the time of this recording, in which I explained why I went from being a weeping and gnashing of teeth anti-Trumper to becoming a Republican, aligning more closely with conservative values and vision for the world. I like to call it middle-class nationalism. That's my preferred label for my personal philosophy that is in line with the Donald J. Trump populist movement within the Republican Party. The old neocon Bush-Cheney world of the Republicans, where we need to support Israel no matter what and bomb the heck out of every living man, woman, and child in the country that can enrich us by subjugating them. Not cool. I'm done with that. I'm not associated with that. I bring this up because I said logically, then emotionally, then logically. I was logically persuaded because at that time I was a cringe internet atheist, back when I was an anti-Trumper. And I listened regularly to Sam Harris. And I was big on listening to his podcast called Waking Up at that time. I was kind of woke, okay? As you might have a guessed from the name of the podcast, Waking Up podcast. Well, being a big fan of Sam Harris, I happened upon, while looking up material of his online, I happened upon a hit piece. I didn't know it was a hit piece, that was a thing at that time. But I found a hit piece written by Ezra Klein in the liberal/progressive publication Vox, absolutely bashing him. Not a bad verb there. It's in speech. And I was shocked and mortified. How could they say all of this? And I'm reading through it, and I knew none of it was true, having listened to his podcast religiously as an atheist, ironically, right? Everybody is religious. You don't have a choice as a human. You are religious. So you might as well pick the one that's going to serve you and your line the best, which is what I have done recently. And so I realized that everything that was in this publication by Sam was a lie. You know what else I saw on that page? I saw an anti-Trump article being linked on that page. Logically, see, logic kicked in. Wait a second. Are they doing to Trump, goosebumps, what they just did to Sam Harris? I went and I read the article. And I thought, it's very similar, eerily similar accusations about being a sexist, racist, bigot, Islamophobe, whatever. They're saying the same, they're putting the same labels at Trump that then threw at Sam Harris, and I knew those to be false. Oh, shoot. Right? And then the emotion of panic. Have I been lied to? So logic. I spot the pattern. Then the emotion. Have I been lied to? And then logic. Yes, I have been. I have been taken in. And I have since reformed my ways. And back in 2019, I came out as being an ex-anti-Trumper. Right? They're on Scott Adams' podcast. And then half his audience hired me to be their ghostwriter, and the rest is history. And now I work with him directly. We just did Win Bigly, second edition, came out. Interesting times may you live in, my friends. Make sure to get your copy of Bulletproof, which is my new book out with Jack Posobiec. It is the first and only book that's covering the truth behind the Trump assassination attempts. Praise God that he has survived those. We did lose Corey Compatore, the firefighter hero, Man, I sat near his family, his widow and daughters, actually right next to them, at the Butler 2 rally, where Vance and Musk and other distinguished guests spoke. I was in the VIP area in the tent with congressmen and whatnot, and it was really interesting. Crowd of people. The people, it was a juxtaposition. The people who were there in the VIP section, there are people wearing wife beaters, and there are people with trophy wives, and there's not really an in between in the Republican Party anymore. There's the entrepreneurs, the made themselves great, go-getter self-starter types who built massive empires of business from humble means. The mom was a public school teacher, dad was an electrician, and they both encouraged their kid to pursue his dreams, and now he's in the VIP section. Also next to people who are literally wearing wife beaters. The working class types. And that's the Republican Party now. It is what it is. Every time you see nope, it's a reminder. Vote Donald J. Trump.